Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'll be talking about my Canada journey. I'll be taking you through all that I've had to go through over the last few years to the point where I am, where I recently got this mail that contains my permanent residence card. So sit down, sit tight, and let's get right into it. My name is Tammy, by the way. If you enjoyed this video, of course you should give this video a thumbs up, and please share this video with your friends so that, of course, it gets a lot more traction, and I'm sure you'll learn a thing or two from this video. And of course, do well to check out other videos on my channel. So let's get right into it. A few years ago, this was 2019, I started playing with the thought of traveling out, relocating from Nigeria, because that's where I was born, that's where I lived all my life. Actually, as of 2019, I had never traveled out of the country. And on this fateful day in 2019, I was driving to school. I was still back in uni then. And my brother recently got his permanent residence in Canada. So he came to Canada, and then it was on that day I was driving back to school. He got me some stuff that I was putting on. I was looking very nice. And then the police guys stopped me. Actually, it wasn't just a stop. It was a chase and then a stop, right? And then they checked my phone, typical Nigerian stuff. If you're Nigerian, you understand this, right? So they checked my phone and all of those things. And apparently they told me, oh, there was nothing and I could go. But it just really felt intrusive for me. And of course, there's a lot of police brutality and all of those things going on in Nigeria, right? And I felt so unsafe. And it was at that point I decided I wanted to leave Nigeria. But to be fair, as of 2019, I couldn't even afford to relocate, right? So I just kept my fingers crossed. I was pushing and I was getting all of the things I needed to do together. So I started the journey 2021. So 2021, I was in my final year in uni at this point. I was about graduating, and I started to think, okay, what next after school? Which is the major question every other person asked, right? So, what next after school? I graduated school December 2021. What next after school? And it was something that took me weeks to think about. So immediately I was done submitting my final papers at the University of Ibadan. I took a trip to Senegal at this point, and then I sat in Senegal for about 2 weeks. And this was what I was thinking about, because for me at that point, I already had like a fairly stable life. I was making good money online. I'd figured out how to do online marketing. So it wasn't so much about maybe getting a job or building a career and all of those things for me. It was so much more about how could I get the quality of life that I wanted, and also live in a place that would let me thrive and grow. I weighed all of those options, and then I graduated. I was done with everything. I decided to move to Rwanda. So I moved to Rwanda 2022 January. So I was in Rwanda for like a couple months, and it was pretty interesting. I had lots of fun there. I loved Rwanda. In fact, that's still my best country to live in, right? But one thing that I knew about Rwanda was it wasn't going to get inclusive for me, right? And then also at that point, I started considering moving to Dubai, because of course Dubai had a lot of buzz and all that. But at the same time, I wanted to move to a place that I could call home. And there were just a lot of things that I was considering. And I think this part is a place you should pay a lot of attention to. So I was beginning to make that decision. At this point, I was 23 years old, right? And I sat down on this day. Okay, you're making money already. You're not necessarily moving for the money, right? What are the things you should look at? So I went to speak with a mentor of mine, and he told me something very profound. He said, see, you're young, Tammy. If you move to Canada or wherever you choose to move to today, and things don't work out for you, let's say in the next 3, 4, 5 years, you'd only be 26, 28 years old. You come back to Nigeria and you get things going again. So why don't you give it a shot? Stop limiting yourself, go for it. And that was just like the biggest push I needed at that point in time, because I was still very much caught in the web that I was in. So I was done. I made the decision I was going to Canada. Then March 2022, I started applying for admissions in Canada. Then I got admission into Algonquin College to study marketing management. And then, of course, it was quite expensive. So school in Canada is another level because it's actually quite expensive. Like you would pay somewhere around $20,000 for a year of study. So I was coming here to come and study for 1 year because I was done with my bachelor's. And by the way, I had my bachelor's in religious studies. So it was a weird bachelor's, right? You know, that bachelor's degree where everyone says, what can you do? And then you're like, oh, I can do everything. That was the kind of bachelor's that I had. So I was just at that very, very pretty fix. And then I got admission into Algonquin. And then I decided to submit my visa application May 7th, 2022. First. May 7th, I submitted the application, and that was where my life took a pause because I'd never really applied for something that meant so much to me, like applying to Canada, right? This thing actually put my life on a hold, and I'm not even kidding. I had to like wait for months, refreshing the app, logging into their app, waiting for the visa decision every single day. I couldn't make progress with my life because I'm like, if I should start this thing, what if I move to Canada? Will I be able to continue? If I start this thing, what if I do this? And I end up not doing anything, right? Updates. Sadly, no updates. So I've not recorded a video in a long time as regards editing in Canada because since June 22nd, if I'm not mistaken, when like my biometrics was like finally updated, and then I had like this very, very strong feeling at the end of June, like they were going to approve me. Last, I did not get any approval mail. So I spoke to myself like at the end of June. I said, this July, like we're in July right now, today's even July 27, I said I was going to move on. And I've been able to move on successfully. But then I wrote in like this my book here. So I have this book here, let me show you. So that when this video comes to reality, you see. So like there's a way I always write things that I want. So I wrote it here in this book. I think I wrote this like even in February before I even like got admission. Before I did anything at all, that was when I like wrote this. So you see, I said my aim is to get like a band 8 score in IELTS, and I had a band 8, and I don't even register for IELTS when I wrote this. So I was like, okay. And then like even when I was like getting into UI, I had like a notepad where I wrote like what I wanted to graduate with, and I eventually graduated with that. So I feel like I have like that chi or luck. But then I now wrote another one. So I wrote this one also even before I like applied for admission or wrote IELTS. So I said, how did I write it? My goal is to get my Canadian visa before the end of July. Then I have on my other notepad, which is like on my phone, when it eventually happens, I'll show you with like the date stamp. So I also wrote it there like my passport, like you know, like when they approve you, there'll be like a passport request, so that my passport is going to be sent back to me early in August or something like that. So I wrote it, to be honest, I had totally forgotten about it. So when I now saw it again recently, I was like, maybe July ending. So I just moved on. In fact, I wasn't going to travel anywhere like since all these days. I've just been like stuck in Nigeria. But then I eventually decided to travel. Right now I'm even like in Tanzania, doing a lot of work. And even once I'm done recording this video, I'm gonna have my bath and go and play. So I've just moved on. So I'm just updating you like no updates, but then I've been able to move on. I can now do a lot of things. Like before, I was just sort of stuck. I was not doing a lot of things, but now I just know that there's no amount of worry that will change anything. So why not just move on with my life? So I've moved on with my life, but I'm still expecting. So today is June 27. Let's see if any miracle happens before the end of the month. So we still have 28, 29, 30, 31, so like 4 days. Let's see. Alright, so that is all from my end. See you when there's an update. Hopefully the update will be an approval or at least a response. To be honest, I don't mind any update. I know I'll be sad if it's like a rejection or anything, but then like, well, then just give me updates because I hate to wait. Bye. All through those 3 months, I waited. I applied in May. Then I got a response August, I think it was 5th. So it was just about 3 months. So I got the response, and then on the day when I got the response, I was in Tanzania at that point. It was insane. I'd never been that excited in my life. It was super, super incredible.
Yeah, hello. Another one of my video series about the Canada Japa stuff. Man, today has actually been very, very hectic. Like literally hectic mentally, because I did not do anything. So I'm still currently in Tanzania, like I told you, and like I said in my last video, I was having this great instinct like, oh, they were going to give me feedback in July, or rather that they were going to make a decision in July, and I was going to get my passport stamped in August. But then July ending came and I didn't get any decision. So I remember on the 1st of August, on the 31st of July. So I actually prayed. So I prayed. I was like, oh God, I'm going back to Nigeria next week. By the time I get to Nigeria, I want to have this thing so that by the time I'm landing, I would go and send my passport. So I actually prayed, and I've like been praying about it like every day. Me that I know used to pray very well before. Nothing we visa no fit cost. So I started like just praying, not anything serious, just like pray little and all that. And then I suddenly woke up today, 3rd of August. So I woke up around 10 a.m. I did a few things here and there. 10 a.m. the time in Tanzania, that's about 8 a.m. in Nigeria. So I did a few things, and at exactly 11:50 a.m., I don't know what I was looking for. I just checked my email, and immediately I refreshed my mail. I just saw mail from IRCC. Check your portal. Man, my heart skipped. I was going to die. I was shaking. I was like, hey man, they've made the decision. So I rushed down, opened my, what did they call them? The IRCC portal. And then I saw one new message. And from the post I've seen on Nairaland, everywhere, it's always 2 messages. So I saw one message and I scrolled down. I saw it was a biometric validity letter. And from the things I've read, when you get a biometric validity letter, it means that a decision has been made, and they will communicate the decision in 48 hours. So some people's decision will come like almost immediately, concurrently, simultaneously, and all that. So I've just been like, oh, maybe they'll send it, maybe they'll send it, maybe they'll send it. But eventually, it's about 13 minutes to 12 midnight, and I didn't get, or I haven't gotten any update. That's about 12 hours after I got that first update. So I was like, oh, I've taken my mind off it, although I'm still strongly positive that I would get a feedback in the next 48 hours from the first one. So tomorrow or by Friday, hopefully it's a positive one. But then I'm scared as hell. You know, when you've maybe written an exam, whether you did well or you did not do well, once you submit the exam paper, everybody's gone and everybody's just gone. But the moment you hear that, maybe once in a while you are thinking at home, you might just be like, man, it looks like I might pass, it looks like I might fail. You just can't weigh it, but then it won't weigh you down as much. But then when you hear that the result is out, but you've not seen the result, that's the feeling I'm having right now. So it's more like my result is out, but I've not seen the result. So I'm actually very, 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 very scared. I'm quite confident, but at the same time, I've lost the confidence. Or rather, let me say, I used to be confident, but I've lost the confidence right now. I'm still pretty optimistic. I'm praying and hoping, and hopefully I'll be able to post this video so that it would be part of the process and be fun. So hopefully when I get the PPR, or God forbid, the rejection letter, I would update you. If it's a rejection, I would not update you, because what's your business? But if it's PPR, I'll update you. So, all right, good night.
I took it like a new turn. I quickly moved back to Nigeria, submitted my passport, because you need to submit your passport to like the Canada people so they can put your visa on it and all of those things, right? And I did all of those things. I bid my farewell to like all my friends, family members, and all of that. And then 29th August 2022, I made the big move to Canada, right? So I moved to Canada 23 years old. I was actually going to clock 24 like in just a few days, because like that was just like a few days to my birthday, right? So, but I would say as a 23-year-old. So I moved. Fortunately for me, I have a brother here, right? So I moved straight in with my brother. And then just a few days after I moved, my best friend from like uni way back, we've been together for like the past few years, also moved, because we processed the move together. So it was sort of like a seamless move, because I had all like the people that I needed around me. So we moved together. We stayed with my brother for a couple months, and it was the absolute best time of my life. Like I did enjoy it. And then one of the things that I learned immediately I moved here was you needed to forget the things you had done in the past and then start living in the present. Like, don't obsess over, oh, I've been this, I've been that, I've made money. Like, you have to actually come here humble, because if you hear the saying, abroad will humble you, and I'm not even kidding you in any way. Irrespective of how much you bring in or how you feel, moving to a new place is mentally demanding and daunting, right? So I moved myself and my friend. To be fair, like I said, I wasn't thinking I was ever going to get a job or anything like moving to Canada, because I sort of had my life fairly stable, sorted out. I even like brought in good money as well. So, but a few weeks in, I discovered that, man, the cost of living in Canada is super, super high. And if I didn't start making moves, I was going to run bankrupt. And coupled with the fact that at the point when I had moved, I started like losing the vibe for like my business that I was running, because my mind was not just settled in one place. I had to focus on school, because of course I was paying a lot of money. Do I want to waste the money? I had to focus on schooling, immigration matters and all of those things, because I wanted to get my own immigration matters out of the way as soon as possible. So that started, and then a few weeks in, I got my first job as like a sales attendant or cashier or whatever they call it, right? At Bulk Band. Thank you, Bulk Band. That was like the first place. So they employed myself and my friend. We're living at Bradford at that point in time. So we got the job, worked with them like a couple months. And then it was part-time, of course, we were students. So yeah, had some fun. And then a few months in, fortunately for us, Immigration Canada said we could start working full-time, which was very, very exciting. So I decided to work full-time for like for a few weeks, which was I worked at this cannabis company somewhere in Bradford as well, right? And then my brother's wife moved to Canada as well. So that meant we couldn't live with my brother anymore. So myself and my friend, we moved down here to Ottawa. And once we moved down here to Ottawa, it was like starting a new life, because as much as it felt like I had done life on my own a long time, right? But all this while, I had actually never really lived alone, right? It was always like with people. In Nigeria, I was even living with my parents till I left, right? So it was like the first time that I needed to be like that adult of the adult of the adult. So I had to take charge. And then the first thing I did, because I didn't want to take on a job anymore, I didn't like the fact that I wasn't flexible. Like, I don't want to trade my flexibility for any single thing in the world. So I decided to get a car. So I got a car that, okay, in case I needed money and anything, I could use the car for Uber. But apparently that car happened to be the biggest misery in my life in this country. I regret every single day that I met that guy. The guy's name is Abiola. He's a Nigerian as well. I met him on Facebook Marketplace, and he sold the car to me. It was a 2008 Camry. I'll put the picture somewhere there, right? And then basically I got the car, and the car cost me a lot of money, because every month I had to go to the mechanic. I had the car for like 9 months, between 2023 January and like 2023 September. And for those 6 months period, I spent about $6,000 at the mechanic's workshop. Like, I literally have all of those receipts. Like, it was that bad. And then this it was like September. Yeah. So that's like the story of the car, by the way. So we were in school in like all through those times, September to April. So we graduated school in April. But while we were in school, we already knew that Canada immigration was changing, right? Because there were a lot more people coming in, and it was going to be tougher than ever before to get permanent residence. So I started like making moves, right? I wrote my IELTS. I already had some work experience from Nigeria and all of those things. And I'll talk about those things and maybe how you can integrate them for yourself as well if you're planning to come to Canada, right? So I did all of those things and it was pretty smooth. And I wrote my IELTS. I had like an 8.0. And then also I was waiting for my WES. So because for you to be able to get into the express entry pool, right, you needed to write WES. So my WES from UI took from November 2022 to July 2023. So at that point, I was beginning to panic because I was done with school and then I didn't know what next. So I applied for another program in school. And when I applied for that other program in school, it was a little bit like shaky because I didn't want to have to spend another $20,000. But at the same time, I knew that if I spent that money like 1 year, if I went to school for 1 more year, that means I could get a 3-year postgraduate work permit. But if I stopped going to school at that point, I was only going to get a 1-year postgraduate work permit. And what that means is you're going to be under a lot of pressure to get your permanent residence sorted, which is so difficult at a time like this. In fact, I don't recommend anyone to give themselves that little time frame. So I got the admission, applied for a study permit extension so I could go to school again. The school was meant to start in September. And then I got into the express entry pool in between those transition phase, right? And then when I got into the express entry pool, I basically was waiting. And while waiting, I decided to take a trip. I went to the UK. So it was before I went to the UK, right? I got an ITA. So that's called an invitation to apply for permanent residence. So I applied, I started putting together all the documents that I needed for my permanent residence application. And then I put it together and it was another long ride. It was pretty expensive. You needed to pay about $1,500 for the application and just a lot of roller coaster of emotions. You really couldn't do anything. So at that point, I still wasn't balanced to get back to my business or anything. So immediately I submitted my application for permanent residence in September 2023. I got a job with Bell. So I started doing marketing with Bell. Also, I got another side also. So I was literally working 7 days a week, September, October, November, December, back to back, work. I worked every single day from September to December 2023. Also, it was at the end of December, I knew that I was done working. I didn't want to work anymore. I had saved up some money. I was okay, I was going back into business. So I went back into business. I was a little bit fairly stable, even though at this point, I didn't have my permanent residence yet, but I'd now gotten my work permit. So this is the idea. So since I got in here, I've had so many visas. So I had my study visa that I came in with. Then I got a study permit extension. Then immediately I got a job in September. I applied for a work permit. Then I applied for my permanent residence in September as well. So that was 4 applications. Then I was thinking my permanent residence was going to be fast, but it wasn't fast. And I needed to make a trip to Germany in February this year. So I had to go and apply for what we call a visitor's visa. So it's a TRV, so I can have a stamp to travel again. And then I applied for that again, costing me another money. And then after putting all of that together, while I was in Germany. So I went to Germany February 5th to see my partner. And then landing in Germany on the 6th of February, I just got this mail from IRCC we've gotten to the final stage of your application, blah, blah, blah. It's been approved. So that I needed to update my address. I was so excited, anxious. So I ran back from Germany to Canada, filled in all of the details. And on the 6th of March, I got this very, very amazing mail. Congratulations, you're now a permanent resident of Canada. And it was the best day of my life. It was a heavy burden being lifted off my shoulders. And I was just so excited. But then, when you get the permanent residence, it doesn't come with money, right? So I needed to get back to work. So I was building my business already. I was making some progress. But at the same time, I still needed to do some things outside Canada. So I wanted to travel, right? So I didn't even have my permanent residence card. And you can't leave Canada without your permanent residence card. So I've been waiting all this while. And then it was it was May 31st. And then I got a mail. This mail has this. It says Canada, right? So it's from the government of Canada. And then when it came in, I opened it up just like I'm doing again now. And then I was like, oh, okay, your permanent residence card, enclosed is your permanent resident card, ensure you carry it when you travel abroad. And man, I just like sat down and thought about all the work, the effort, the sacrifice, the money, and every single thing that I had to put into this journey. And like seeing this card, like it's just so emotional for me. Like it's super emotional for me. Like you don't know how much effort, the sacrifice, the work, and all of those things that this thing actually brings. Like it is so difficult moving to a new country, being unsettled, and deciding to like build a life there. And that's what I've been up to over the last 2 years. And I'm so glad like the whole process has like come to an end. I'm like now a permanent resident of Canada, and yeah, I now have like some sort of balance, and yeah, that's what I've been up to. And I'll make a video again talking about like the whole process, like from schooling, trying to get admission, applying for a work permit, what you can do, and basically all the things you need to do to like maybe do a 1 year postgraduate work, 1 year program to like get PR within the 1 year space, because I've done it. My friend has done the same, and man, it's not easy, but it's been a hell of a ride. And you can see like I got this mail like saying thank you for choosing Canada. You don't know, like this is my new home, this is my new country, and I'm so excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to all that is ahead of me in this country. And yeah, thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to give it a like, a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to share as well. Bye.